Hey everybody, how you doing? It's Captain Art from Cast It Forward. We've got a fun trip planned for you tonight. Join me and my first mate Dave as we go out on Lake Erie at night in search of big Lake Erie walleye. So if you've never fished Lake Erie or you've never experienced the night bite, it's something to behold and it could be epic. We're actually looking for a double-digit walleye. It may or may not happen, but we're going to bring you along with us, share some of the tips, tricks, tactics, areas that we like to fish, the baits that we like to use, and hopefully you learn something. Come along with us, we'll catch some fish. We'll see you out on the water. All right guys, it's getting a little bit crazy. We got set up in that 24, 23 foot depth on some breaks, and we've just in the last 5 minutes had 4 pullbacks. We've had a couple come off. We just put our second fish in the boat on a Walleye Nation Creation Reaper. It's a Wonderbread. It's got a black head and a white body and some dots on it. I'm going to show you the fishing in that. It's probably 4 pounds. Still looking for that double-digit one. We're not there yet, but we got some action going on. Yeah, if you can see him, there you go. You can see the black head and the white body. Nice fish. We're releasing everything. The only thing we're keeping today is if it's something big that we can weigh. Otherwise, they're all going back. There she is going back. Gonna let her go. Straight down. Good shape. Nice, man. Another one. What was that, set up 5 minutes? Yeah. Nice job. Okay. Now yours should be going up, right? For the rattles. So we just made our move again. We're working these depth contours, these real tight depth contours in about 23, 24 feet of water. We went through that area that we liked. We got past it. We pulled everything up and we made a swing back around, and no sooner were we set up, 3 minutes, fish on. Not a huge one, but a nice fish. They're starting to get fat. They feed real heavy in the fall, and that's what we're doing. We're chasing them here in the shallow water. They're chasing shad, and that's what we're giving them. So
I got one on the outside.
Okay, we got another one on. Up. That's that new color too. What was that? Green chartreuse with the black. Oh, the frog, black frog. This one's up high. Sorry. So we're still rolling. We got another one on. As closest to a double as you can get. Swimming right along. Yep. There he is right here, right down. Oh, right by the kicker. a little bigger. Probably the biggest one yet.
Yeah. Way to go, Cap.
So now, again, we just made that adjustment. Now as you see the size of that last one, now look at the size of this one, probably twice as big. Fishing that contour. This one's just a little bit deeper, but probably only running that bait about 15 feet deep. So it's picking up, fellas. Just because of the way that we got hooked.
Well, he's a nice fish.
Is he?
Bigger than I thought.
Okay. Well, we got a mess because this big fish crossed all our lines. That's the biggest one of the night right now. It's not our double digit, but probably 7 pounds. And when he hit, he crossed everything. Still pressed. But there he is. Another nice one. Keep getting bigger. We keep running that same line. 24, 25, real tight contours. And this is the results we're getting. I'm gonna let this one go too, and we're gonna clean this mess up. All right, there's that big fish going back in the water. Get a nice release. There they go. Swim away nice and healthy, straight down to the bottom. Hey everybody, how you doing? Captain Art here. So I wanted to give you a recap of our trip from, that was actually was a Saturday night. We were out on Lake Erie, and you know, you guys saw the footage, so I wanted to kind of go into detail of some of the stuff that we did and why we did it. So first I'm going to start with location and why we kind of settled on the area that we were in. What I look for all the time, but especially in the fall when the water is cooling and the bait fish are moving in shallower, because that's where the warm water and then the walleye are right behind it. I look for depth contours that are real tight together. So if you look at your graph and you see a bunch of lines, you know, a bunch of contour lines that are really tight together that actually drop off into deeper water, what happens is the walleye or the bait fish and the walleye kind of use those as highways, if you will, up and down in order to chase the bait fish and feed. So on the other night, that just so happened to be in 22 to 25 feet of water. Doesn't always work like that. Sometimes you go in there real shallow and for whatever reason, those fish aren't there. But what we do is we'll follow those breaks out to 25, 30, 35, 40, sometimes even out to 50 feet of water. You know, being open water, it's not like you're bass fishing where you're relating, you know, the fish are relating to wood or structure or cover. The lake contours actually cover for the fish in a sense. So you got to be flexible. Like I said, it just so happened that the contours, these tight contours that we were working, were in between 22 and 25 feet of water. And what we would do, we had an east wind, we would set up and make a good long pass, go over the spot, and we'd go through it. We'd pop fish right away, and then kind of we'd get through that spot, and we'd pull up and just swing around and make another run through. And you know, there was times we had 3-4 fish on at a time. Unfortunately, we didn't catch anything big. Probably the biggest fish that we caught was 7 pounds. It was a CPR trip, catch, photo, release trip. We let everything go. We were looking for one big fish, and it just never happened. But you know, you got to put your time in, and I'm sure sooner or later we're going to see some of those bigger fish. As far as seasons go, it's still early in the fall. You know, the water temperature was 52 degrees, and we'll catch them up to freezing basically. And actually the colder the water gets, the more active they get, the fatter they get, the more they're eating, and they're just gorging on shad. Before I get into the bait profiles and what we like to use, I just want to reiterate about these tight deep water contours, and not even deep water, just these tight contours that you see on the lake's bottom. And that's when using your graph can really come into your benefit. And we keep some pretty extensive notes, and we have general ideas of where the fish are going to be based on the time of year. But look at your graph. You could even do this while you're sitting at home, getting ready to go, even a day or two ahead of time. And what I like to do is I like to look for those lines that are really close together. That means a really tight drop off. So you may have tight lines, and it goes from it may go from 10 feet down to 30 feet, all within 50 feet, 50 yards or 100 yards or whatever the case may be. And we found, it's not always the case, but we found you locate that type of underwater highway, if you will, that it'll hold fish. And studying your graph and getting to know those areas before you get out on the water saves you a heck of a lot of time, and most of the time will put you right on fish. The other part of that thing is, if that's an area that, or if that's a strategy that you're going to use, you can go to a completely different part of the lake. We're fishing Lake Erie, and there's a lot of water to fish, and there's a lot of fish scattered all over the place, plenty of ports to launch out of. You can use that strategy and those techniques if you're launching out of any port, but use that same mindset. Look at the water, look for those tight water contours relating to deep water, no matter where you launch out of, as a starting point. It's not to say guaranteed that those fish are always going to be there. Sometimes, like I said, you have to hunt. You might have to run up shallow, you might have to run deeper, but 9 times out of 10 you're going to find some activity. If you find bait, you're going to find fish. So that's kind of our strategy and why we do what we do. As far as location, now this time of year on Lake Erie, we're in the central kind of western basin, depending upon, we jump around a little bit, but the dominant forage is shad. So we use baits that mimic or copy that shad profile and the shape and size. And one of the ones that we like is the Reaper. This actually happens to be antifreeze Reaper. It's Walleye Nation Creations, and you can see from this lure has caught a lot of fish. They just bang the heck out of it. So that the Reapers are good. So this past trip, the one that we're talking about here, the Reaper was good, and the other one was the Wonder Bread. Okay, so that's black and white. Normally we're looking for baits, white, silver, pink, orange, any of those kind of natural colors. Doesn't always hold true, but that's kind of where we start. The other baits that were really good, there's 2 of them. These are actually custom painted by my good friend. Shout out to Tommy Harris. This is what we call a Nemo pattern. It's gold and black. There's a little bit of orange in there. With the lighting, you may not be able to see it, but this bait this pattern just catches fish. And again, you can see just on this bait, I mean, these fish are just knocking the you know what out of it. And another one custom painted by Tommy. We call this one Black Frog. It's got green and black and a silver dot on it with a red bill. All these baits catch fish, but we basically like to match the size of the bait fish. Sometimes we'll pay attention. We'll pay attention to where the fish are hitting on the lure. If they're hitting on the back hook, that means they may be in a little negative mood, and we'll scale down our baits in order for them to kind of get that bait in their mouth. Now, it just so happens when we were out on Saturday that most of these baits, the fish had them on the front hook, so they were pretty aggressive. We had good conditions. Like I said, the water was about 52 degrees. We had an east wind about 6. We had about a 2 foot or less chop on the lake. About 4 foot visibility. The barometric pressure was 30.12, and these are all things that we pay attention to. So we just don't go out there willy-nilly and hope we catch and fish. We put a strategy in place even before we hit the water, and it's paid off for us. So we're glad that you came along. Hope you enjoyed the video, and hope you enjoyed seeing us catch some fish. Hope you learned something. Leave any comments, any questions or comments that you have with us. I'll always answer. Happy to help anybody out. You know, the goal is to be better, be a better fisherman, you know, cast that information forward, if you will. So we appreciate you watching, and we'll see you out on the water next time, okay? Captain Art out.